The first serious buyers are standing 10 feet away when Diane says, "After everything this family has done for you, Lena, a little gratitude wouldn't kill you." My future mother-in-law smiles as she says it. That's the trick. Her voice stays bright enough to blend with the jazz coming from the kitchen speaker. Beside the welcome table, Evan gives me the tiny downward nod that means, let it go. He doesn't look confused. He doesn't ask what she means. He nods as if we've already agreed that I'm ungrateful. My phone vibrates in my hand. Electric service refund completed. $1,850.00. The joint savings balance beneath the alert is $0.00. The water deposit is gone too. For a second, all I can see is Evan's hand resting beside my blue ceramic key bowl, his thumb stroking the rim like it belongs to him. Then one of the buyers asks whether the basement has ever taken on water, and Diane turns toward me. "Lena knows all the boring house stuff," she says. "Don't you, honey?" I look at Evan. He knows where the utility deposits went. The unanswered part is whether he helped himself before or after he promised me he never would. The basement has a sump pump, I tell the buyers, and 2 dehumidifiers. I can show you where they are. Diane's smile loses one tooth. The buyers, a couple named Marcy and Owen, follow me through the dining room. The table they pause to admire is mine. So are the chairs. So is the cream runner Diane spent 20 minutes criticizing because it made the room look too beige, then refused to let me take home because it made the room look finished. "We love what you've done," Marcy says. "Thank you." "Diane said you staged it yourself." "I did." Behind us, Diane laughs. She has very specific opinions. Evan comes up carrying 3 empty champagne flutes by their stems. That's one way to put it. His grin is familiar enough to be painful. 2 years earlier, that grin had gotten us upgraded to a balcony room after a hotel accidentally gave away our reservation. 6 months ago, it had kept me laughing through a kitchen flood at our old apartment while we scooped water into mixing bowls. I had loved that Evan could make trouble feel temporary. Now I wonder how much trouble he has made temporary by handing it to me. Owen asks about the dining table. "Does this stay?" Diane answers before I can. "We're flexible." "It doesn't convey with the house," I say. The silence lasts no more than a second, but Diane can do a lot with a second. She straightens the stack of property brochures. Evan sets down the champagne flutes harder than necessary. "Of course," Diane says. "Personal items can be discussed." I lead Marcy and Owen toward the basement door. The knob sticks in humid weather, and today it takes my shoulder to open it. Cool, damp air rises through the doorway, carrying the artificial pine smell of the deodorizing blocks Diane tucked behind the furnace. Evan steps in front of me. "I've got this." His hand lands lightly at my waist. To anyone watching, it looks affectionate. His fingers press once, hard. "Mom needs help up here," he murmurs. "Then help her." Lena. Marcy is pretending to study the framed print over the stairwell. Owen is not pretending anything. He watches Evan's hand leave my waist. I turn on the basement lights. The floor below shines an even gray, newly painted, and still too clean around the edges. 2 woven screens hide the unfinished east wall. The dehumidifiers are tucked behind them, both running, their hoses feeding into the sump pit. "It's dry down here," Diane calls from the top step. At that exact moment, one of the dehumidifiers gives a low mechanical cough. Owen smiles. Sounds like it's working hard. "The house is 78 years old," I say. "The equipment runs most days in summer." Diane descends 2 steps, one hand on the rail. Purely preventative. I glance at her. She meets my eyes and lifts her eyebrows, reminding me of the open house flowers, the catered pastries, the photographer she says she paid for even though the charge is sitting on my credit card. Marcy walks to the woven screens. "What's behind these?" "Foundation wall," I say. "Storage," Diane says at the same time. Evan laughs from the doorway. Technically both. It's enough to redirect the moment. Owen asks about electrical service, and Evan points out the new panel he installed with his friend Luis. He knows the date, the amperage, the permit number. He sounds steady and competent. I used to love watching him explain something he had built. He catches me looking and smiles as if I've come back to him. My phone feels hot in my palm. Upstairs, the open house swells with voices. Tessa Ward, Diane's listing agent, arrives late carrying a cardboard tray of coffees and an expression that says she has already solved 3 problems in the parking lot. She is compact, silver-haired, and always dressed as if a photographer might jump from behind a hedge. "Offer activity?" she asks Diane. "Strong interest," Diane says. "We've had 6 groups," I tell Tessa. Marcy and Owen came back. "Excellent." Tessa gives me a coffee. "You're saving my life." Diane touches Tessa's elbow. Lena's in one of her moods. Tessa's eyes move between us. Then she can save my life moodily. I almost laugh. Diane doesn't. Evan takes the coffee from my hand and drinks it without asking. It is such a normal thing that my body accepts it before my mind does. He always steals the first sip. I always complain. Usually he kisses my temple and says, "Mine tastes better." Today he says, "Can we talk in the garage?" I'm working. His jaw tightens. So am I. "You're drinking my coffee." "There she is," he says softly, trying to coax me into our usual rhythm. I take the cup back. "Where are the utility refunds?" The warmth leaves his face, but only for a blink. "What refunds?" "My electric and water deposits." "We'll talk later." "You know which refunds." Diane appears at his shoulder with a fresh roll of paper towels. The powder room sink is covered in droplets. People notice droplets. She gives me the roll. Evan says, "Mom." "What?" She asked me what needed doing. I didn't. Diane looks toward the crowded living room, careful to make sure no one important is listening. "You have been picking at everything today. The flowers, the table, the basement. If being here is such an imposition, you could have said no." I did say no on Wednesday. "You said you were tired." I said I couldn't take another day off. And yet your boss was understanding. My boss thinks I'm at a family emergency. Diane's mouth hardens. Selling the home I have lived in for 31 years feels like an emergency to me. There it is. The part that always makes my anger feel cheap. Diane isn't pretending about the house. She rubs a thumb across the wallpaper seam by the garage door whenever she thinks no one is watching. Yesterday I found her sitting on the bare floor of the upstairs sewing room, holding a bent curtain hook in her palm. She can be grieving and still use me. Both things fit inside her without touching. "I'm going to wipe the sink," I say. "Thank you," Diane replies, wounded and gracious. Evan follows me down the hall. "Don't do this right now." I stop outside the powder room. "Then tell me the money is still ours." A visitor comes around the corner and Evan turns his movement into an embrace. His cheek touches my hair. "Please," he whispers. 5 o'clock. We'll go home, order Thai, and I'll explain. "Explain what?" He lets me go before answering. "Nothing happened that can't be fixed." That is the first honest thing he says all afternoon. In the powder room, I close the door and sit on the toilet lid with the paper towels in my lap. The room smells of lemon cleaner and Diane's rose hand soap. My fingers shake while I open the bank app. Our emergency savings account shows 3 transactions since yesterday. The electric refund arrived at 8:12 in the morning. The water district returned $640 at 9:03. At 9:17, someone transferred $2,490 to an external account ending in 1186. I don't recognize the number. I tap through to our checking account. Evan paid the mortgage on Diane's house twice this spring, and she reimbursed us both times with checks that took weeks to arrive. He covered her plumber in April. I bought the upstairs light fixtures because Diane's card was declined at the store, and she promised to pay me on closing day. Small bridges, Evan called them. You build a small bridge when someone you love is stuck. I search the external transfer history. The account ending in 1186 appears 4 more times. Diane gas, Diane tax, Diane staging, Diane emergency. The most recent transfer has no description. Someone knocks. Occupied. It's me, Tessa says. There's a line forming and these people are too polite to admit it. I stand so quickly the paper towels slide to the floor. When I open the door, Tessa studies my face. Up close, her makeup doesn't hide the tired skin beneath her eyes. You okay? Fine. Terrible answer. I need 5 minutes. You have 2. Diane is telling Marcy the freezer stays. The basement freezer? Yes. That's mine too. Tessa closes her eyes. Of course it is. I gave Diane an inventory. You gave Evan an inventory. Evan told me the family would work out personal property after an offer. That's not what I said. I believe you. She raises one finger. I also need the house to remain calm for another 58 minutes. Calm. The product everyone assumes I manufacture for free. I'll be calm, I say. Good. Be calm where the powder room line can't see you. She moves past me, then stops. For what it's worth, the buyers like the house because it feels cared for. That part is you. The compliment lands badly. I don't want credit for making Diane's version of reality convincing. Back in the foyer, my blue bowl is overflowing with business cards. We bought it in Asheville on our first weekend away together, from a potter who told Evan the uneven rim gave it character. Evan had carried it 6 blocks under his jacket when rain started. At our apartment, we dropped our keys into it every night. The sound meant we were both home. 3 weeks ago, Diane had seen it in the box of staging pieces and said the color matched the front door glass. I let her take it because I thought we were building toward the same life. Now her spare key rests at the bottom beneath Tessa's cards. I slide it into my pocket. The open house ends at 4. By 4:10, Diane has removed her shoes and is walking around in stocking feet, collecting abandoned brochures as if each one is a personal insult. Tessa leaves with Marcy and Owen to show them another property, promising to call. Evan carries champagne glasses into the kitchen. I pack the leftover pastries into their plastic trays. Those can stay, Diane says. I'm putting them in your refrigerator. Oh. She presses her fingers to her forehead. I thought you were taking everything. Evan looks at me over the open dishwasher. Not today, I say. Diane lowers her hand. What is that supposed to mean? It means the pastries are staying. Lena, Evan warns. I fold the cardboard lid down. There's an external bank account ending in 1186. Is it yours? Diane turns toward the sink. That answers half of it. Evan shuts the dishwasher. We agreed to talk at home. You agreed for us. We have had a long day, Diane says. If this is about money, I cannot handle another financial ambush. I stare at her. My money was transferred into your account this morning. She looks at Evan, genuinely startled by the timing, if not the transfer. This morning? It was supposed to clear last week, he says. The kitchen goes very still. Even the refrigerator seems to quiet itself. Diane grips the counter. You told me Lena knew. Evan's face changes. Not guilt exactly. Calculation. Mom, go sit down. I will not be spoken to like I'm senile. I didn't say. You said the two of you had discussed it. I wait for him to deny that. He doesn't. Diane looks at me with a strange mixture of embarrassment and irritation, as if I have caught her wearing a blouse she was told belonged to someone else. The utilities had to remain on. Evan said the deposits were household funds. They were refunds from accounts in my name. You and Evan are getting married in October. That doesn't make my name his. Evan plants both hands on the island. Can everybody stop making this sound criminal? I haven't called it anything yet. It was a transfer from a joint account. I had access. Mom pays us back at closing. You promised that money was our emergency fund. This is an emergency. Whose? He glances at Diane. The answer hurts more because he doesn't say it. Diane steps between us, trying to recover the authority of her own kitchen. I am selling this house so I can stop asking anyone for help. There will be enough to settle every penny. In the meantime, I needed to keep the lights on, and you were already helping with the sale. I was helping with flowers and furniture. I didn't agree to finance the house. You have eaten dinner at this table every Sunday for 2 years. My table, I say. Diane blinks. Evan lets out a breath through his nose. That's exactly what Mom meant earlier. What did she mean? The scorekeeping. Every chair, every charge, every favor. Those deposits were refundable because I paid them, and you were getting them back into an account with both our names on it. Because you said it was safe there. It is safe. It's gone. It went to my mother, not a casino. Diane flinches. Evan notices and immediately softens toward her. That tiny shift does it. He has just taken my money, lied about it, and somehow she is the person he checks for damage. I take my car keys from my bag. Lena, he says, quieter now. I'm going home. We came together. You can ride with your mother. Diane folds her arms. Running away will not improve this. No, but staying might improve it for you. I walk through the foyer. The welcome table has been cleared except for my blue bowl and one crooked brochure. I lift the bowl with both hands. Evan follows me. Leave the staging until the final walkthrough. I turn around. He stops 3 feet away, his expression caught between apology and command. From the kitchen, Diane says, "The bowl matches the door." I look down at its uneven rim, at the pale scratch Evan made the night he dropped his truck key into it after too much bourbon. Then I look at the spare key pressing against the lining of my pocket. "The bowl is mine," I say. Evan's eyes drop to it. "Fine, take the bowl." As though he is giving it back, I carry it outside and set it carefully on the passenger seat. Through the front window, the lamps glow warmly against the late afternoon gray. Beneath the den floor, 2 dehumidifiers and a sump pump keep running on electricity someone has put in my name. I don't know that yet. What I know is that Evan stands behind the glass beside his mother, and neither of them comes out to stop me. At the first red light, the bowl slides across the passenger seat and bumps the door. I catch it with one hand. My phone rings in the cup holder. Evan's name fills the screen, disappears, then returns before the light turns green. I let it ring. At the next intersection, Diane calls, then Evan again. By the time I reach the apartment, there are 2 voicemails and a text. Please don't turn this into something bigger than it is. I carry the bowl upstairs tucked against my ribs. Our front door sticks near the bottom when the air is damp. Evan keeps promising to sand it, but most evenings he shoulders it open and announces himself like a man breaching a fortress. Tonight, it takes me 3 tries. The entry table looks naked without the bowl. There are pale circles in the dust where it used to sit and a loose pile of mail Evan has been dropping in its place. I set the bowl down. My keys hit the ceramic with a clean, bright sound. Then I lock the deadbolt, though Evan has his own key. The bank's customer service number is printed on the back of my debit card. A woman named Patricia answers after 14 minutes of hold music and asks 4 versions of the same security question. The transfer was initiated by an authorized account holder, she tells me. Can you tell me which one? I can confirm it was not initiated under your online profile. So Evan, I can't identify another customer. There are only 2 people on the account. I understand. Do you? Patricia pauses. Her voice softens just enough to tell me she does. Because this is a jointly held account, either owner may transfer the available balance. I can submit a review if you believe the login was compromised. What if the person was compromised? That is unfortunately outside my department. It is almost funny. I thank her because she did not take my money, and because women named Patricia have probably been thanked for worse. I open my laptop at the kitchen counter and change the direct deposit for my paycheck. Then I download 2 years of statements from the emergency account and our checking account. I save copies to a new cloud folder Evan cannot access. Our apartment is full of wedding evidence. A stack of addressed invitations sits on the sideboard beneath a paint sample from the venue. 2 unopened cases of wine are wedged between the refrigerator and the wall. On the freezer door, Evan has magneted a list titled, Last 90 days, though the wedding is still more than 90 days away because he wrote the list in March and never changed the heading. His tasks are highlighted yellow. Mine are highlighted blue. Almost everything is blue. He comes home carrying takeout at 7:20. The door scrapes, then opens with its usual groan. "I brought Ty," he calls. I'm sitting at the kitchen table with the statements spread in front of me. He sees them and stops. The paper bag swings once at his side. "I asked for extra spring rolls. Put them down. They'll get cold. So reheat them. They're spring rolls." I look at him. "Okay," he says. "Bad opening." He sets the bag on the counter and takes off his jacket. There is sawdust in the cuffs from the deck job he worked that morning before the open house. He brushes it into the trash, washes his hands, and dries the sink when water splashes the counter. He is a man who notices 6 drops beside a faucet when he wants to. "I should have talked to you first," he says. "Yes. I thought the refunds were coming later. You transferred them 9 minutes after the second one arrived. I have alerts set up. So do I. I realize that now. That isn't an apology. I said I should have talked to you. You also told your mother I knew." He pulls out the chair opposite me and sits. She wouldn't have accepted the money otherwise. Then she knew taking it without asking was wrong. No, she knew you'd make her feel guilty about needing it. I laugh once. "You lied to protect her from feeling guilty." "I lied to get us through 5 days, to closing." "Exactly." "And what happens when the buyers find out the basement needs those machines running constantly?" They saw them. They saw screens. Owen walked behind the screens. He didn't touch the wall. Evan rubs his palms over his face. "The wall gets damp. It's a basement. The paint bubbled in June. Louis sealed it. Louis painted it. He used masonry sealer." I wait. Evan looks toward the takeout bag. "Both can be true. You told me the sale would pay back the plumber, the fixtures, the photographer, and now this. Have you added any of it up?" "Mom has. That isn't what I asked. She's not trying to cheat us. She's already spent money she doesn't have. The house is under contract by Friday. We close next week, and this is over." "There isn't a contract. There will be. You're gambling with my name and my money because you want to believe your mother's house is already sold." His chair scrapes back. "You keep saying my money, my table, my name. When exactly were you planning to become part of a marriage?" The question lands between us with enough force that neither of us touches it. He stands and opens the takeout bag. The smell of basil and fried garlic spreads through the kitchen. "I'm going to eat," he says. "You should too." "I want the deposits returned tomorrow." "From where?" "Your account. Her account. Sell something." "Great. I'll put my truck online tonight and start walking 40 miles to job sites." "You're being dramatic." "No, I'm asking you to tell me where you think $2,500 appears from overnight. The same place you thought it appeared from this morning." He takes 2 plates from the cabinet. "Mom's property taxes were late. If she didn't bring them current, Tessa said it could become an issue at closing." "Tessa told you to take my utility deposits?" "Of course not." "Does Tessa know you use them?" "What does that have to do with selling the house?" I gather the statements. Evan watches me square the pages. "Don't drag her into this." I asked a question, and I answered it. "No." You stepped around it. His mouth tightens. I am trying to keep one difficult woman from panicking and another difficult woman from burning down the plan because her feelings got hurt. I slide the last statement into the folder. "Which one are you marrying?" He doesn't answer fast enough. I take the folder into the bedroom and close the door. He sleeps on the couch. I know because at 3 a.m. I hear the television ask if he is still watching. At 7, his side of the bed is still smooth. The takeout containers have been stacked neatly in the refrigerator, and my portion of the drunken noodles is labeled Lena in black marker. I eat them cold while I call the electric company. The first representative confirms the refund. The second confirms my old apartment account is closed. When I ask why my online profile still shows active usage, she transfers me to new service. Yes, the third woman says. You currently have service at 214 Briarwood. That's not my address. She asked me to verify my social security number. The noodles turn heavy in my stomach. What date was that account opened? May 28th. The same day, Evan spent 2 hours at our dining table sorting Diane's overdue bills. I had given him my laptop password because his battery was dead. My tax folder was in the desk drawer beside him. Who authorized it? I can't see how the enrollment was submitted. It was completed online. I didn't submit it. Are you saying this account was opened fraudulently? The word sounds enormous in our small kitchen. I'm saying I didn't open it. She places a temporary security hold on the profile and gives me the number for the identity verification department. Before she transfers me, I ask about the account balance. Current charges are $312.48. A security deposit of $900 is scheduled across the first 3 billing cycles. Because of the address. Because of the credit history associated with the new service request. My credit history is excellent. I can only tell you what the system shows. Diane's debt, my name. The identity verification department wants a signed affidavit and proof of residence. They also warn me that disputing the account may interrupt service at Briarwood if Diane cannot qualify on her own. The final walkthrough is Friday, I say. I'm sorry? Nothing. I write down the case number. Evan answers on the second ring. A saw whines in the background. What happened? He asks immediately. You put your mother's electricity in my name. The saw stops. Not exactly. Try again. I used our login to move service. The website kept rejecting Mom's application. Our login? You handle the utilities. I thought the profile was household. You thought my social security number was household? Lower your voice. I'm alone. Then why are you yelling? I stand beside the sink, looking at the dry counter he wiped last night. Did you put the water in my name too? No. Gas? No. Anything else? No. The pause is thin and ugly. Evan, the dehumidifier rental is on my card. That was not my question. I have to get back to work. I'm filing the affidavit. If you do that now, they could shut the power off before the walkthrough. I know. You would destroy the sale over a paperwork shortcut? You opened an account in my name. To keep the house safe. To keep the basement dry. Mom couldn't cover the deposit until closing. So you took mine from the old apartment, then signed me up for another one. When you say it like that, how do you say it? Someone calls his name in the distance. Give me until tonight, he says. Please, I'll straighten it out. Straighten it out means remove my name. It means fix the situation without detonating everything. I'm not your mother's utility company. No, you're supposed to be my partner. He hangs up before I can answer. I print the affidavit at work during lunch. My boss, Nia, passes the copy room carrying a salad and pauses when she sees the pages. Everything okay with the family emergency? Depends which family. She studies me for a moment, then points at the printer. It jams if you use the bottom tray. I've been asking facilities to fix it since the first Bush administration. Nia is 43. I smile despite myself. Take tomorrow if you need it, she says. A real personal day this time. No emergency required. After work, I drive to Briarwood before Evan can get there. Diane's car is gone. The spare key from my pocket opens the front door. Without people, the house looks like a stage after the actors have left. Wine rings stain the welcome table. A brochure lies face down near the stairs. My furniture sits under Diane's lamps, arranged to suggest a life no one has lived. I photograph everything. The table, 6 chairs, cream sofa, side tables, entry bench, upstairs bed frame, basement freezer, rugs, mirrors, lamps. The brass bar cart, Evan said was too large for our apartment but perfect for Diane's den. In the basement, I move the first woven screen. The paint behind it has blistered in a line from the floor to my knee. I press one bubble with my thumb. It gives softly, like skin over a bruise. The second screen hides a dark stain spreading behind the dehumidifier hose. On the floor beside the sump pit is an orange extension cord with a strip of masking tape around the plug. Lena ACCT written in Evan's block letters. I photographed that too. Upstairs, my blue ceramic bowl is missing from the welcome table because it is home where it belongs. The empty spot looks strangely accusatory. I email the inventory and photographs to myself, then send the inventory alone to Tessa with a short note explaining that none of those items are included in the sale. She calls before I reach my car. Lena, what is going on? The furniture belongs to me. I understand that. Why does your email read like the opening move in a hostage negotiation? Because Evan told you the family would work it out. We haven't. She sighs. Marcy and Owen are considering an offer. The staging needs to remain through the walkthrough. I haven't said I'm removing it today. Good. I'm saying it is mine and I decide whether it remains. You're putting me in the middle of a personal dispute. You were already in it. You just thought Evan spoke for me. Her silence changes the temperature of the call. Finally, she says, Do not remove anything tonight. Let me speak with Diane. I'm not asking permission. No, you're creating a written record. Yes, that part I understand. When I get home, the blue bowl is still on the entry table. My keys are inside it. Evan's are not. The desk drawer in the bedroom is open, and the black document box where I keep our lease, insurance records, and wedding contracts is gone. I call him, straight to voicemail. Then I open the banking app. My password no longer works. I try it twice more, slowly enough to watch each dot appear. Incorrect password. We had been using one login since we opened the account, another small convenience that now looks like a hole in the side of a boat. The reset code goes to Evan's email. I call the bank. Patricia doesn't answer this time. A man named Corey confirms my identity and creates a separate online profile for me. It takes 23 minutes. The balances have not changed. Our checking account contains $1,106. The savings account still contains nothing. Evan answers my call only after I text him that I am reporting the document box missing. You know where it is, he says. I know you took it. I moved it somewhere safe. From me? You're photographing furniture and sending legal-sounding emails. They aren't legal-sounding. They're complete sentences. You're not acting like yourself. And your response was to lock me out of our bank account and take our lease? I changed a password. I didn't remove your name. You took the wedding contracts, too, so you couldn't cancel everything in a rage and lose more money. I sit on the edge of the bed. You took contracts I signed to stop me from making decisions about them. I took one box to Mom's house. Bring it back. Are you going to cancel the wedding? Bring it back. That's not an answer. Neither was the nod. He goes quiet. At the open house, I say, when your mother called me ungrateful, you nodded. I was trying to stop an argument. You agreed with her. I agreed that it was not the time for me to defend myself, for any of us to start something in front of buyers. She started it, and you finished it by announcing the table was yours. The table is mine. He breathes out hard. This is what I mean. You can make a room feel like a courtroom in 10 seconds. You can make stealing sound like mediation. I'm staying at Mom's tonight. I figured that out when your keys weren't in the bowl. His voice softens. Lena, don't do anything permanent tonight. You've had 2 months to say that to yourself. He hangs up. I put the utility affidavit in an envelope, sign across the seal, and set it beside my purse. Then I pull the wedding list off the refrigerator. The paper tears around one magnet. Last 90 days comes away first, leaving Evan's yellow tasks and my blue ones hanging separately for a second before they both fall. I sleep diagonally. At 8 the next morning, Tessa calls. Did you authorize movers? I sit up. What? There are 2 men and a truck at Briarwood. Diane says they're taking selected pieces to a climate-controlled unit. My feet hit the floor. They're taking my furniture. She says Evan told her you agreed. I did not. I thought not. I am dressed in 4 minutes. The blue bowl catches my eye as I grab my keys. I leave it where it is. The moving truck is backed into Diane's driveway when I arrive. One man is wrapping my dining chairs in quilted pads. The other has already carried out the brass bar cart. Diane stands on the porch holding a clipboard. "What are you doing?" I ask. She looks genuinely relieved to see me, which is almost impressive. "Protecting your things. Put them back. The house will be full of inspectors and contractors after the offer. I refuse to be responsible if something is damaged." "You could have asked me. You are not answering rational questions rationally. When did you ask?" "I asked Evan. You keep using him as my translator. He is the person connecting us. He's the person taking my money." One of the movers freezes with both hands on a dining chair. "Ma'am, put it back inside," I tell him. Diane taps the clipboard. "I signed for 4 hours. Then she can pay you to move her things." "She's trying to derail a closing," Diane tells him. He looks at his co-worker. "I just need to know who owns the furniture." I do. Diane says it was staged for the sale. With my receipts. I open the folder on my phone and show him the original order for the dining set. He reads my name and billing address. The chair goes back inside. Diane follows me into the foyer. "Do you have any idea how humiliating this is?" I turn. "Yes." The answer shuts her up for half a breath. Then she recovers. "I was told the furnishings would remain until closing." "They might have, if you hadn't tried to take them." "We were storing them." "Where?" She looks toward the kitchen. "Whose name is on the storage unit?" "Evan arranged it." "That isn't what I asked." "You have decided every ordinary thing is evidence, because you keep leaving evidence in ordinary things." Tessa steps through the front door carrying a leather portfolio. She looks from the wrapped chair to Diane's clipboard. "Truck leaves," she says. "Furniture stays through tomorrow's walkthrough if Lena agrees. After that, Lena controls removal." Diane points at me. "She has a key she was not authorized to keep." Tessa's eyes move to my hand. I take the spare key from my pocket and hold it between 2 fingers. It was in my bowl. "Your bowl?" Diane says. "Of course." Tessa puts out her hand. "Give me the key. I'll handle access." I hesitate, then set it in her palm. A small surrender, but mine to make. Evan arrives while the movers are unwrapping the bar cart. He gets out of his truck with my black document box under one arm. "Can we not do this on the lawn?" he asks. "You hired the lawn," I say. "Mom did." "Because you told her I agreed." "I said you wanted your things out." "I said they were mine." "I heard the direction you were going." "That must be convenient." He carries the box to my car and sets it on the hood. The latch is closed. I open it and check the folders. Lease, insurance, venue, catering, photographer, my passport envelope. The utility folder is missing. "Where are the old bills?" He frowns. "What old bills?" "The ones with my service history and account numbers. I didn't take anything out." "Then where are they?" "You handle the filing." "You handled it on May 28th. His eyes flick toward Diane. Tessa sees it. "What happened May 28th? She asks. "Nothing related to the sale," Evan says. "Then you won't mind telling me." Diane appears behind him. "We had trouble transferring the electricity." Tessa's face becomes still. "Transferring it from whom?" "No one," Evan says. "From Lena," Diane says at the same time, temporarily. Tessa presses 2 fingers to the bridge of her nose. "Whose name is on the active electric service?" No one answers. "Good," she says. "Excellent. I love discovering problems in driveways." "It will be corrected after closing," Evan says. "The seller must maintain utilities through the walkthrough and closing." The seller, Evan, not the seller's future daughter-in-law. It's active. That's what matters. What matters is whether you have made representations about ongoing service that are not true. Diane folds her arms. The electricity is not defective. The basement wall might be. All 3 of us look at Tessa. She looks at me. "The photo you didn't send me. I saw your thumb over the preview when you showed the mover your receipts." I say nothing. Tessa holds out her hand. Show me. Diane's voice sharpens. Tessa. Show me the photo, Lena. I open it. The blistered paint fills the screen. The next image shows the dark stain and the orange extension cord labeled with my name. Tessa studies both, then hands the phone back. Movers leave. Everyone else stays. The offer arrives 20 minutes later. Marcy and Owen want the house. Their number is close enough to Diane's asking price that she starts crying at the kitchen table. For a moment, all the hostility drains out of her. She grips Evan's wrist and laughs through her tears. Evan crouches beside her, smiling up at me as if this is the moment we have all been working toward. I feel it too. Relief is disloyal that way. Tessa lets them have 30 seconds. The offer is contingent on tomorrow's walkthrough, she says, and now I have questions before you sign anything. Diane wipes beneath her eyes. The wall is sealed. The wall is wet. It's an old stain. The photograph shows active blistering. Evan stands. I can open the wall this afternoon. Do not touch it until we know what disclosure is required. You're our agent, Diane says. You should be protecting the sale. I am protecting the sale from becoming a larger problem. Tessa gathers the brochures scattered beside the printer. A sheet of paper comes with them. She looks down at it, then at Evan. What is this? He reaches for it. She steps back. The page is a spreadsheet in Evan's blocky formatting, with yellow cells for Diane's house and blue cells for ours. Plumber. Photographer, fixtures, taxes, gas. My electric and water refunds appear under sale carry. At the bottom, beside a total of $6,842, is a note. Reimburse Lena after wedding, roll into joint house fund. Not after closing, after the wedding. He had not planned to give the money back to me at all. He had planned to wait until my claim on it became harder to separate from his. Diane reads over Tessa's shoulder. I never saw that note. I was simplifying, Evan says. For whom? I ask. Us. There is no us in that sentence. There's your mother, you, and a date when you thought I'd stop asking. He looks tired instead of defensive, which is somehow worse. I thought if I could get everyone to October, the pressure would be off. You mean I'd be committed? You already said yes. So why did you need me more committed? Diane pushes back from the table. This is a private relationship matter. Tessa folds the spreadsheet and places it inside her portfolio. It became a sale matter when you used Lena's funds and utility identity to operate the property. You cannot keep that, Evan says. It was sitting in the printer at my listing. You're acting like we forged a deed. No one said that. Tessa's tone is flat. I'm saying the buyers must receive accurate information before the walkthrough. Diane goes pale. You will scare them away. The moisture may scare them. The disclosure gives them a decision. And what does Lena get? Evan asks, since that's apparently the only question left. I meet his eyes. My deposits, my name off the account, written confirmation that none of my property conveys, and the truth about the basement. We can repay you after closing. You wrote after the wedding. I'm telling you now. And I'm telling you now. His expression shifts. He sees the thing I have not said aloud yet. If you file that utility affidavit today, he says, the power could be disconnected before the walkthrough. Then Diane needs to open an account. She can't cover the deposit. That isn't Lena's obligation, Tessa says. Diane looks at me across my dining table. You would let this house go dark over $2,500? No, Wayne, you let it depend on money you took from me. Tessa tells Diane to sign the offer before it expires, then begins drafting an addendum. The movers leave. Evan walks them out while Diane sits alone at the table, tracing one finger along a scratch near the edge. I remember when you bought this, she says. Evan showed me a picture. You looked happy. I was. He was too. I know. She lifts her hand from the scratch. He has spent his whole life trying to keep the person in front of him from being upset. That sounds kind. It can be. She looks toward the driveway. until you realize he pays for it with whatever belongs to the person who isn't in the room. It is the closest she has come to admitting anything. Then she says, "Leave the utilities through closing, and I will make sure you're repaid." The admission closes again. "I'll allow an orderly transfer," I say. "I won't leave them in my name." "You know what the interruption could do." "Yes. And you can live with that?" I look past her toward the basement door. I'm learning what I can live with. At home, I return the document box to the bedroom closet and remove every folder that belongs only to me. Evan comes in after dark. He stands in the entryway staring at the blue bowl. "Mom signed the offer," he says. I heard. "Tessa sent the moisture disclosure." Good. "The buyers still want the walkthrough." Good. He gives a short, broken laugh. "You say that like any outcome is good as long as you didn't have to bend." I bent for 2 years. So did I. For whom? He looks down at the empty space beside my keys. I set the sealed utility affidavit on the entry table. "The account transfer deadline is 10 tomorrow morning," I say. "The walkthrough is at 11. He reads the address on the envelope. You planned that. I gave your mother a way to keep the power on. And if she can't..." Then the final walkthrough exposes exactly who has been holding that house together. He looks at me for a long time, then places his truck key in the blue bowl. The sound is softer than I remember. He leaves the key there overnight. At 6:30, I find him asleep on the couch in his jeans, one arm over his face. The blue bowl holds both sets of keys again. For half a second, the sight is so ordinary that my body believes we are safe. Then Evan opens his eyes. "Mom can transfer the account," he says without moving his arm. "She found a card with enough room for the deposit." Okay. She'll be paying interest on electricity. She was already paying for electricity. She just put it in my name. He sits up. His hair is flattened on one side. "Do you hear yourself?" "More clearly every day." He looks toward the bowl. "I came home." That used to be enough. I make coffee. He takes a mug from the cabinet but doesn't steal the first sip from mine. At 9:43, the electric company emails confirmation that service at Briarwood will transfer to Diane at 10. At 9:51, I submit the signed affidavit and upload my proof of residence. The representative notes that the service will remain active while they review how the account was created. I send the confirmation to Tessa. "Thank you," she replies. A minute later, Diane sends, "I hope you are satisfied." I leave that one unanswered. When I pull into Briarwood, Evan's truck is parked crookedly near the garage. Tessa stands beside her car reviewing papers. She has replaced her usual heels with flat black shoes. "Experience," she says when she catches me looking. "Never inspect a basement in shoes you like." "Are they coming?" 5 minutes. Diane has asked whether you need to be present 6 times. Do I? "I need you to identify which items leave with you. You also know where the moisture first appeared." "I told you where." "You did. I prefer facts with witnesses." Inside, Diane has removed the woven screens from the basement but arranged 2 potted ferns in front of the worst wall. Tessa walks downstairs, sees them, and closes her eyes. "Diane, they're ferns. They're obstructing the disclosed area. They add oxygen. Move the oxygen." Evan carries the pots upstairs. Dirt spills from one onto the freshly painted floor. Diane looks at the soil, then at me. "Do you have a tissue?" "No." She laughs sharply. "Of course not." I hand her a roll of shop towels from the workbench. Marcy and Owen arrive with a contractor named Ben who carries a moisture meter and talks very little. Owen greets me politely. Marcy looks around the den and says, "It feels different today." "The open house flowers are gone," Diane says. "So is that little blue bowl by the door." "It was mine," I say. Marcy nods as if that explains more than the bowl. We walk room by room. Tessa reads from the property list. The refrigerator stays. The basement freezer does not. The dining set, cream sofa, mirrors, rugs, lamps, entry bench, Bed frame, side tables, and bar cart do not. Diane objects to the upstairs mirror. That was here before Lena, she says. I pull up the receipt. Diane squints at the date. That must have been the other one. There isn't another one, Evan says. He says it without looking at me. In the basement, Ben presses the moisture meter against the exposed wall. It chirps. He moves it 6 inches higher. It chirps again. The sealer is trapping water behind the paint, he says. Can it be repaired? Marcy asks. Anything can be repaired. Diane brightens. There. Ben continues. The question is where the water is entering. You may need exterior drainage work, or the foundation could need excavation. I'd open this section first. Owen crouches near the sump pit. How often does the pump run? As needed, Diane says. The pump kicks on. Everyone looks down. Evan stares at the orange extension cord. My name is still written on the masking tape around the plug. Tessa opens her portfolio. The seller has disclosed that the electrical service was temporarily established under Lena's identity without her authorization. It transferred back to Diane this morning. Marcy looks from Diane to Evan. Why would anyone do that? The utility website was difficult, Diane says. It rejected her because of the deposit, I say. Diane's head turns. You don't need to narrate. She was asked a question, Tessa says. Evan steps closer to the wall. We needed to keep the pump and dehumidifiers running. I thought Lena's account was the fastest way. You knew she hadn't agreed, Owen asks. Evan glances at me. Yes, he says. The word is quiet. It still changes the room. Diane folds her arms. He was trying to protect the property. Marcy touches a bubble in the paint and it dents under her fingertip. Were the machines running during the inspection? Yes, I say. Both of them? Yes. Behind those decorative screens? Yes. Diane turns on me. You placed the screens because you asked me to stage the room. You knew what they covered. So did you. Tessa steps between us without making it look like she is stepping between us. Marcy, Owen, you and Ben can have the room. We'll wait upstairs. We sit around my dining table while the buyers talk below us. Diane moves a salt shaker that no one has used from one side of the table to the other. Then she moves it back. Evan stands at the window. You could still explain that the wall has never flooded, Diane says. I've never seen standing water, I tell her. Then say that. I just did. You make every sentence sound hostile. No, Evan says from the window. She makes every sentence exact. Diane looks at him, wounded by the correction. He rubs his jaw. Mom, the wall is wet. You sealed it. I covered it. It may be the first time he has said the wrong thing for her and the right thing for everyone else. She looks suddenly older, not helpless, just tired of holding up her version of the house. Marcy, Owen, and Ben return after 15 minutes. They still want to buy, but they request an $18,000 repair credit and a licensed drainage evaluation before closing. They also want 2 extra days for review. Diane grips the back of a chair. $18,000 for damp paint? For an unknown water source, Owen says. That is insulting. It's our offer. Tessa takes Diane into the kitchen. Their voices stay low. Diane's does not stay calm. Evan comes to sit across from me. You knew they would do this, he says. I knew they would see the wall. You knew what seeing it would cost. No, neither did you. That was the problem. He watches his mother through the doorway. She was counting on that money. So was I. Your $2,500 is still coming back. You said that when you thought it would become ours again after the wedding. He looks down at the spreadsheet Tessa left on the table. That note was stupid. It was honest. I was trying to keep us moving forward. You were waiting until I couldn't pull my money away from yours without pulling apart a marriage. We were supposed to be a marriage. We were supposed to be honest before one. Diane accepts the credit after Tessa shows her 2 comparable houses and reminds her that the buyers can walk away. She signs the amendment with enough pressure to score the page underneath. Outside, Evan follows me to my car. She just lost most of what she planned to live on for the next year. She sold a house with a wet basement. She sold a home to people who deserve to know what they're buying. He plants one hand on my car roof. You always have a clean answer. No, I have receipts and photographs because nobody listened to my dirty answers. This didn't have to become a war. It wasn't a war. I stopped supplying your side. His face tightens. There, that. You wanted leverage. I wanted a choice. You had one. Only if I chose what you wanted. He steps back from the car. Are you really going to end us over a utility deposit? I look at the hand that was resting beside my bowl when his mother called me ungrateful. The same hand that pressed my waist in the basement, transferred the refunds, opened service in my name, removed my documents, and finally moved 2 ridiculous ferns away from a wet wall. No, I say. I'm ending us because every time the truth threatened your mother, you made me pay to keep it quiet. He stares at me. I slide off my engagement ring. There's a pale indentation beneath it. When I hold it out, he doesn't take it. Lena. I'm not asking permission. His fingers close around the ring. I get into my car. 3 days later, Diane texts me a list of boxes she needs packed before closing. I send her the number of the movers she hired. She replies that family should not treat family like hired help. I do not reply that hired help gets paid. I schedule my furniture removal for the afternoon after closing. Tessa supervises access. Evan is there, but Diane leaves before the truck arrives. The cream sofa barely clears the front door. One mover tips it upright, while another shouts instructions no human furniture could follow. The dining table comes apart into 6 pieces. The brass bar cart rolls down the driveway under its own enthusiasm and has to be caught by a man carrying my mirror. For the first time in weeks, I laugh. The bank does not reverse the deposits. Joint ownership is joint ownership, even when one owner lies. The electric company's identity review remains open until Evan submits a statement admitting he created the service request, and Diane signs responsibility for the balance and deposit. Tessa will not mark the property file complete while that correction is unresolved. 2 days before closing, Diane transfers $2,490 to me. The note reads, "Utility deposits, repaid in full." A second transfer covers the fixtures and photographer. It is less than everything I spent and more than they wanted to admit. The house closes at the reduced price. Diane moves into a 1-bedroom condo across town. Evan sends me a photograph of her living room full of sealed boxes. Could you at least tell me where she packed the coffee maker? I delete the message. The venue refunds the amount charged to my card, minus a cancellation fee. The caterer returns half. Together, the refunds cover the deposit and first month on a small apartment with uneven floors and windows that stick when it rains. Evan and I divide what remains of our apartment without speaking much. He takes the television, the bourbon glasses, and the kitchen knives his father gave him. I take the bed, the battered Dutch oven, and the last 90 days list, though I throw it away downstairs. He packs the entry table while I'm at work. When I open the box in my new apartment, the blue ceramic bowl is beneath a cordless drill with a thin crack running from its uneven rim almost to the base. I sit on the floor and hold it in both hands. A week later, Evan comes by with the spare key to my old apartment. He has already turned in his copy to the landlord, but he found mine in the pocket of the jacket he wore at the open house. He places it inside the cracked bowl. "I'm sorry," he says. I believe that he is. It changes nothing. After he leaves, I repair the crack with dark blue resin and set the bowl on the narrow shelf beside my new door. The repair shows. I let it. I drop my new keys inside. The sound is bright and entirely mine.